Patriarchy. Patriarchy. I don't know if you're noticing a theme. Patriarchy. Anyways, I'm not done.
When you hear the word patriarchy, you might imagine The Handmaid's Tale or the Taliban, forcing women to wear burqas and stay inside all day. The average feminist will tell you that patriarchy is when men oppress women. Before feminism saved the day, women were slaves and men were always beating their wives. But that's just not true. Traditional gender roles aren't about enslaving women, they're about cherishing women as beautiful and sacred and unique. Femininity is something to be protected, not exploited. The Taliban is just one crazy exception, which only happened because of Islamic fundamentalism. Despite what Margaret Atwood says, we're in no danger of anything like that happening in the West. In real life, patriarchy isn't this dark, oppressive system. It's actually quite sweet and wholesome. When you take a girl on a date, you make the plans, you pick her up, you decide the restaurant. That's not abusive, that's not tyrannical. That's just leadership. Patriarchy doesn't mean women are slaves, it doesn't mean The Handmaid's Tale. It just means that the men lead. So today we're going to talk about rape, we're going to talk about bonobos, we're going to talk about beauty standards, we're going to talk about beating your wife, and we will make the rational case for trad wives.
Searching for my 1950s woman. Searching for my calendar girl that I can come home to.
Sweaty? When men have power over women, they abuse that power. Under patriarchy, male bosses rape their female secretaries, male teachers grope their female students, and husbands beat their wives at the slightest provocation. According to feminists, men in the 1950s were just constantly beating the crap out of their wives. The problem with that argument is that it's just not true. There's literally no data to support that. Seriously, find me the study. You can't. Feminists will constantly parrot this argument, but it's pure speculation. I would actually argue that patriarchy leads to less rape and abuse, because under patriarchy, men are taught responsibility. That's the whole point of gender roles. Our fathers and grandfathers train us from birth to be good leaders, to respect women, to use our strength for good. Never hit a girl. That's like rule number 1 of traditional gender roles. Obviously, even in a traditional society, there will be perverts and rapists, but when society is ruled by strong, virtuous men, they will track down these rapists, and they will castrate them in the public square.
What do you want, fucko? You want something? Huh?
Oh, hey! Really? What are you doing? I swear my fucking mother, if you touch her again, you're dead!
Because there's nothing strong, good men hate more than weak, evil men. Even if we create some egalitarian, feminist utopia, men will still be stronger than women, biologically, because men are built to wrestle jaguars with their bare hands. Men will still be more aggressive, so rape and abuse will still happen. Studies have shown that men commit more abuse when they feel powerless. So what will happen when you rob men of their masculinity and give them feminist wives that don't respect them? Men have a deep biological urge to dominate, and if they don't have a healthy outlet for that, it will boil and boil until they lash out with violence. If you rob men of their natural, biological role of leadership, they will feel like failures, and we will all pay for it. Under patriarchy, women are forced to follow ridiculous, unrealistic beauty standards. Men make them shave their legs and paint their nails and turn themselves into plastic little dolls for male pleasure. Just know that the feminists who make this argument have hairy legs. These are the kind of women who let their mustaches grow out to stick it to the patriarchy. But maybe they have a point. Women do work ridiculously hard to look pretty. They spend thousands of dollars on beauty products. They spend hours on meticulous beauty routines. Some get nose jobs and plastic surgeries, and some even starve themselves to look pretty. But here's the thing. Nobody's making them do that. No man ever told his wife to spend more money on makeup. No man ever told his wife to spend more time on her beauty routine. If anything, the men are begging, please stop. You looked fine before. Now come on, get in the car. We're going to be late. These unrealistic beauty standards aren't being pushed by men. They're being pushed by women. As a man, I guarantee we do not care. Sure, a bit of makeup is nice, but I see these beauty commercials where they're convincing girls to curl their eyelashes and erase their freckles and apply all these chemicals to their toenails. And I'm just like, no man is going to notice the difference. If anything, all those beauty products make you look weird and artificial. Then there's these eating disorders. Women will literally starve themselves because they think they need to have 0% body fat. Feminists blame this on men, but no man finds that attractive. You look like a Holocaust victim. If you ask these girls, it wasn't their boyfriends or their fathers who told them to starve themselves. It was their psychotic moms and their ballet teachers. This is not coming from men. This is coming from crazy women and from companies trying to make money by exploiting insecure young girls. Now, there are some beauty standards that men do care about. We generally prefer girls to shave and to be fit. Not skinny, not anorexic, just not fat. Gender roles are just a social construct. They're man-made. As Simone de Beauvoir said, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Once again, this is just a baseless assertion. Like, do you have literally any evidence to support that claim? Were you there when they invented gender? Were you there when all the evil men invented patriarchy to oppress women? These feminists who think gender is socially constructed haven't spent enough time with animals. Almost all animals ever are patriarchal. That makes sense, right? Males are bigger and stronger. We're better at fighting off rivals and hunting the great boar. Men are designed to lead. Our bodies are bigger and more imposing. Our voices are deeper and louder so we can shout orders. Patriarchy is natural. Patriarchy is in our blood. It is very unlikely that matriarchy would develop in the wild. Women are wonderful, they're great, but when push comes to shove, they're just not as strong. A female gorilla would have a really hard time leading a tribe of males. They could easily overpower her if they wanted to. Also, women in the wild would get pregnant all the time. You can't have the tribe leader getting pregnant. Now she's weak and slow and tired, and there's a good chance she'll die in childbirth. And even if she survives, now she has to nurse the children. It's exhausting. How is she supposed to lead the tribe on top of all that?
These apes have more sex, more often, in more ways, than any other primate on the planet.
If patriarchy is natural, then why are bonobos matriarchal? Explain that, bud. Feminists love to bring up bonobos, as though this one exception disproves the rule. Bonobo families are kind of matriarchal, and since bonobos are closely related to humans, therefore humans are naturally matriarchal, and we've just suppressed that to subjugate women, who are actually smarter and should really be in charge. The first problem is that humans are just as closely related to chimpanzees, and chimpanzees are extremely patriarchal. Also, bonobos aren't really matriarchal. Females only have collective dominance over the males, so when there's a whole bunch of females, they boss everyone around. But when there's just one male bonobo and one female bonobo, without the sisterhood of Karens, the male takes charge. Make of that what you will. Matriarchy really only happens in species where the females are larger, like chinchillas or hyenas. With bonobos, where the males and females are about equal height, the females kind of take charge. But with humans, turns out nobody actually has the research on this, so we went through and did all the math. So with bonobos, males are only 2.4% taller than females. With chimps, males are 7.3% taller. With humans, males are 9.5% taller. We are literally more dimorphic than chimpanzees. That indicates that humans are naturally more patriarchal than chimps. Lots of our close relatives are even more dimorphic. Gorilla and orangutan males are almost twice as large as females. Our family tree is deeply, primally patriarchal. Testosterone makes us stronger, more willing to take risks, and more aggressive. Even among bonobos, the males are more aggressive. There's a few weird species where females kind of take charge, but those are an anomaly. Sweetie, that's actually called the naturalistic fallacy. Just because patriarchy is natural doesn't mean it's good. Diseases are natural, does that mean they're good? I hate this argument. Obviously, nature isn't perfect. Sometimes we can improve on it. Medicine, clothing, these are good things. But in general, we should try to live as naturally as we can. If you have a pet bear and his natural diet is salmon and blueberries, it would be stupid to feed him microwave pizza. If you have a pet lizard and his natural habitat is the desert, it would be stupid to keep him in an aquarium. Which is healthier, walking outside and breathing fresh air, or playing video games in your room? Which is better for babies, natural breast milk or chemically engineered formulas? Just like it's a bad idea to mess with natural diets and habitats, it's a bad idea to mess with natural gender roles. If patriarchy is natural, if patriarchy is built into our biology and our brains, then we should probably stick with patriarchy unless we have a really good reason not to.
Curious if you took away any commentary on patriarchy and war.
Men start wars, and the entire planet should be a matriarchy.
If women ruled the world, there would be no more war. Everything would be so peaceful. This is such a childish belief. On a very superficial level, girls are more affectionate, but they can also be very cruel, very cold, and mean. It's not just teenage girls, it's also Karens.
Okay, Karen.
Not all middle-aged women are Karens, but there's a reason that stereotype exists. I work at a restaurant, and almost every time there's a rude customer, it's a woman. They're the ones who yell at service workers, who make condescending remarks and ask to speak to the manager. Men don't really do that as much. Don't get me wrong, women are wonderful. They have a lot of compassion and empathy. But that empathy doesn't necessarily translate to kindness. A lot of white girls feel tons of empathy for African Americans and Ukrainian refugees, but they treat the people around them like trash. In his book, Against Empathy, psychologist Paul Bloom makes the case that empathy is actually a terrible guide to morality. It leads to a spotlight effect, where you feel so bad for the person that arouses your pity that you forget to care about everyone else. So female celebrities burst into tears over immigrant kids in cages and decide we should just open the borders.
We are destroying children's lives because of arbitrary lines in the sand. We can't let this be the new normal.
Their empathy blinds them to the side effects of open borders. They only care about the immigrants because those pictures made them feel sad. So yes, women are more empathetic, but that does not make them better leaders. The stereotype that patriarchs are mean and violent is blatantly false. One look at the animal kingdom proves it's the other way around. Franz de Waal, one of the world's leading primatologists, wrote that
most alpha apes I've known, and I've known many, are very loved by their community. Good alpha males keep the peace, break up fights, support the underdogs, so a good alpha male can become extremely popular, and when he's challenged by another male, the group is going to defend his position. It is very important for the harmony of the group, and if you remove alpha males, you get chaos.
In the real world, patriarchs are good and beloved and peaceful.
The young ones love to gather round the silverback. You'd think he might be a rather intimidating father, but actually he's really very, very gentle with them and also loves to play. He's careful to curb his strength when he does.
Compare that to matriarchal species.
It's not funny, Ed.
Hyena society is totally dystopian. The alpha females are cruel and hyper-competitive. There's no group cooperation. Food and sex go only to those who can overpower others. The poor male hyenas don't have any family or friends. They're just outcasts, begging for food and acceptance. Always the last to eat if there's anything left at all. Also, female hyenas have fake pee. Then there's the matriarchal bonobo society, which is just freaking degenerate.
Well, they're disturbing just at a zoo. You know, you have bonobos at the zoo.
They're just constantly going.
They're constantly fucking, yeah. Like, that's all they do.
Just won't stop.
Yeah, and they don't care. Gay, straight, whatever. Let's just fuck. What's with these labels?
Let's say you have a man and a woman who love each other very much, but one day they have an argument. He wants to buy a house in the country, she wants to buy a house in the city. They argue back and forth, getting angrier and angrier, but they both refuse to budge an inch. What are they supposed to do? Should they just get divorced? At some point, one of them will have to submit to the other. The longer that takes, the more their relationship will suffer. The feminist fantasy of equality just isn't possible. Couples will face disagreements, and one of them will have to make the final call. It is more natural and more prudent for that to be the man. The whole idea of patriarchy is that men are trained from birth to be good leaders. It's literally just a division of labor. If we can train one gender to be really good leaders and the other to be really helpful and supportive, why not? Besides, equality causes conflict. When both partners feel entitled to an equal say in every decision, everything becomes a negotiation. It becomes a game of compromises and treaties and contracts, and then she's scrutinizing your every move to make sure you follow the agreement. It's so much smoother if you have one designated leader. That doesn't mean you can't have a discussion, that doesn't mean you can't hash things out, but when the discussion is over, it's so much more loving and carefree if the wife just accepts her husband's authority. Feminists claim to be liberating women, but they're actually abolishing women. They are trying to make them identical to men. Be a leader, be aggressive, be loud. Don't make yourself pretty and feminine. Get a crew cut. Wear pantsuits. Femininity is a sacred and beautiful thing, and when you destroy that, love and romance and sex becomes meaningless. We actually know this empirically. The American Sociological Association found that more traditional couples have more sex. They concluded that the less gender differentiation, the less sexual desire. I read an article in the New York Times by a marriage therapist who came to the same conclusion. Couples would come to her and the wife would complain that the marriage wasn't equal enough. So they'd make all these changes. They'd make everything egalitarian and feminist. But after all that, the bedroom was dead. The husband starts to wonder if she's even still attracted to him anymore. He did everything she asked. He followed all the feminist advice, but it didn't work. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more people to hear this, leave a like and a comment. You can comment anything. You can literally just say, good video, and that will be a huge help. Go ahead and subscribe so we can hit 1K by the end of the year and ring that sweet, sweet bell, and we'll see you next time. God bless America.